all of us have to use a lot of electronics and MIDI because people need to hear as real as possible. I find a great way to get things going is do the opposite. Bring in some musicians and just have sketches, have them play stuff, and use that material and come back into the process because almost all of us are using Logic, probably almost everybody. Everybody's got whatever sound library, you can't get away from it.
If you're a composer and you're a musician, buy instruments, buy real instruments. When I get stuck, I'll go to McCabe's guitar shop and I'll just look around for the wackiest thing I can find, take it home and try to play it. And sometimes that's the ticket. I mean, I was totally messing around with a bamboo saxophone. I have no idea how to play it and came up with a sound, and the director wanted that to be the thing for the heroine, so not the heroine, but the heroine.
The last job that I did, I made an early decision to actually just not use MIDI and just record everything as I go, and it was a pretty big risk because I would spend time on these recordings and I would just treat it as a final recording, and if the director didn't like it, I would have to go back and do it. But I found that actually doing that, more cues got approved. He liked them more because they were finished products, and it actually, I just decided I'm going to just use what I have in my studio and just do this way.
I learned something. Harry Gregson Williams told me something about his process, and it seems so unbelievably obvious, and I tried it on the last film, and that is not to do all the recording at the end. Like you get about a third of the way through and they like a bunch of cues. Do a real full-on recording, and you can play with what you've got, and it informs what you have to do later, and it takes the pressure off doing as much at the end, and then you're really putting some really good sounding stuff in the film earlier on, and it was a really useful thing to know about.
Over the last few years, I've learned the hard way that sometimes the first thing that you present, as terrible as it is, ends up the thing that everyone falls in love with. So mix-wise. So I've actually spent a lot of time trying to become my own engineer and learn a lot more about that so that what I do present, if everyone does fall in love with that, because sometimes I've had the experience where it's MIDI that they fall in love with, and I've tried to replace it with live instruments, and they're like, I liked what the demo sounded like. It's like, it's shocking, but it actually happens, and I think
it's not shocking.
The first thing that you hear, as I would imagine as a director, if there's something you like about it, it could be the quality of the sample or whatever. So I'm a very feeble guitar player, but oftentimes if it's a guitar part, I'll play it myself or have someone else come in because it's just so crucial to present sonically the idea that you want to end up with.
Make the filmmaker come sit with you and present. Don't send it to them. That's not a collaboration. That's them shopping on iTunes. Make them come sit with you, and you can talk your ideas, and that's very important.